Incorporated. This is PinoyRadio.com. Love it! Ito po ang inyong palatuntunang Radyo Pilipino, ang Talakayan. Ang tinig ng Pilipino sa Toronto na sumasa inyo tuwing Sabado alas 11:30 ng umaga hanggang alas 12:30 ng tanghali. Dito sa himpilan ng Pinoy Radio. Layunin ng programang ito na makapagbigay ng kasiyahan at makapagdulot ng kaalaman, hatid ng paliwanagan at pagbatikos sa mga issue at problemang dumarating sa ating pang-araw-araw na buhay dito sa Canada. Kapayapaan, katotohanan at kalutasan ng mga suliranin ang aming hangad na ibigay sa inyo. At ngayon, ikinagagalak ng Pinoy Radio na ihatid sa inyo ang Talakayan. Radyo Pilipino, ang Talakayan.
Nakikinig po kayo sa Talakayan, ang tinig ng Pilipino sa Toronto.
PinoyRadio.com. Welcome to Dr. V. Santiago and Associates Family Dentistry. Complete dental care, general and specialty dentistry with trusted team of doctors, surgeon, periodontists, and dental hygienists. Now with 2 locations to serve you in the Greater Toronto area. Main branch at Toronto office, Rosedale Medical Clinic, 600 Sherbourne Street, Suite 307, Toronto. And its new office and clinic at Mississauga Marketplace Plaza, 4555 Herentaria Street, Unit C11. To learn more about Dr. Santiago and the Family Dentistry Canada, visit them online with their new website, thefamilydentistry.ca. For a TLC way of treatment, call 416-967-9272 or 905-272-3455. Dr. V. Santiago and Associates Family Dentistry.
Kahit anong ginagawa ninyo, makinig muna sa masayang tropa ng Talakayan.
PinoyRadio.com. What does it take to realize your dreams? To get you there, a vision and positive steps. The same goes to your financial future. At World Financial Group, we help middle-income families identify their dreams. It's never too early to start working towards your dreams. So I suggest you call Agnes Miranda today. Telephone number 416-702-9693. To secure your family's future, think of World Financial Group.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang umaga at magandang hapon at magandang gabi sa buong mundo. Ito po si Tony San Juan, sitting in for the absent Jess Gabrielas, who is recuperating from some health issues, and I hope he's gonna have a speedy recovery. At kami po ngayon nandito sa studio ng Pinoy Radio, nakasama si Bobby Chacon at saka si Joe Damasco. At wala po si Nelson at dumating yata ang kanyang pinsan galing sa, or kapatid galing sa States.
Galing
at,
sa LA yata.
Sa LA. At si Karen Pascual Binaday naman po ay siguro nag-out of town na naman. Alam naman ninyo yung aming mga kasamahan laging kwan. So, ngayon po ay may bisita tayo, pero bago ang lahat ay pagbati naman ng ating katotong si Bobby Chacon at saka si Joe Damasco.
Ito po si Bobby Chacon, ang IT coordinator na bumabati ng magandang umaga dito sa Toronto. Saka magandang gabi naman po dyan sa mga nakikinig sa atin sa Pilipinas saka around the world.
Thank you. And
ito naman si Joe Damasco, news reporter na kalathan na Toronto, at bumabati sa inyo ng magandang araw, maganda sa labas, maganda sa loob.
ganun ba yan? Ikaw yata pinakagwapo rito
Siyempre.
At ngayon po ay ang tatalakayin natin, today we're gonna have some discussion or conversation with our special guest, who is a prominent personality in the Filipino-Canadian communities in Ontario, especially in the Greater Toronto area. At bago po yun, perhaps we shall be discussing about the education situation in Toronto, especially the Toronto Catholic District School Board, as well as his practice as a project management consultant and all other things wherein our guest is especially involved or engaged in. I'd like to introduce to you our guest. Gary Tanawan was first elected as a Toronto Catholic District School Board trustee in 2012. He hails from Dumaguete City, Philippines, and educated by the Holy Cross Fathers, and now resides with his family in Highland Creek, Scarborough. Gary holds an electrical engineering degree from Silliman University and serves as a management consultant and senior project manager in the United States Canadian Financial, Energy, Clinical Research, and Education sectors for over 25 years. He volunteers as a lecturer at St. Joseph's Highland Creek Church in Scarborough and is a member of the Knights of Columbus. Oh, Joe. Knights of Columbus. Has been a committed member and leader of various lay Catholic groups supporting our Catholic Church and faithful, such as Faith in Our Child Movement, Couples for Christ, Children of the Light, Servants of God's Love, and currently One with God Community, and also affiliated with the International Sword of the Spirit Community of Communities. He is highly interested in the education, culture, and faith development, particularly the Filipino-Canadian youth and teachers in our community. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our special guest today, Trustee Gary Tanawan, Ward A, Toronto Catholic District School Board. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you, Tito Tony. Salamat. I want to greet everyone a good day wherever you are, and all the listeners of Pinoy Radio TRF, and thank all of you here, Bobby and Joe, and I have my wife with me as well.
Hello.
All right, and we'd like also to introduce the other half, or the better half, Peter, or better half of Gary, Marla Tanawan. Would you like to greet our listeners?
Thank you, Tito Tony. Magandang araw, magandang gabi po sa lahat ng nakikinig. Ako po si Marla Tanuan.
Okay. And ang ating pangunang tanong sa ating bisita or guest ngayon what exactly does you're now a member of the Board of Trustees. What does the Board of Trustees in the Catholic District School System do?
As with other trustees in other boards in Ontario, we have two major roles. One is of governance of the entire board for Toronto, and the other part, important part, is the advocacy for our students and parents.
Okay. And you legislate certain policies and programs which impact upon our teachers, our staff, and parents in the community or something?
That's right, Tito Tony. We do policies and governance, like you said, ranging from school uniforms to policies on human resources, property management, and most of all, the student achievement in our Catholic School Board.
Okay, and that's the Toronto Catholic District School Board. And how does it differ in terms of operation with the public school board, the Toronto Catholic School Board?
So basically, we have the same operations and policies. The only difference is it's a faith-based school board. So that's the major difference, and we have our faith entrenched and embedded throughout our curriculum.
Yeah, I understand that the Toronto Catholic District School Board has a certain focus in terms of curriculum, in terms of its goal to some sort of to accomplish or to engage in during the school year. During this school year 2017 and 18, what's the focus of the board?
We at the board, as we're a faith-based school, we have what we call the 3-year pastoral plan, the 3-year cycle. So we're at the end of that cycle. We're now at the school year of the school, and that's our focus for this year. The previous 2 years was the year of the parish and year of the family prior to that.
Mahirap bang maging school trustee, Mr. Tanawan, Gary?
Well, we have our moments.
What do you mean moments?
Well, yeah, when you say mahirap, it means that yes, we'd get the nasty things. We get phone calls, we get emails, and we get the complaints from the parents and
Yes.
our constituents. So that's part of the job, and we all have to take it with a grain of salt. Basically, we get a couple of compliments here and
Okay.
there, but mostly we have to deal with that. That's the advocacy part that I was talking about, to advocate for our children, our youth, and our students.
So full-time job ba ito? So that our listeners would be able to understand the work of the trustee, or school trustee, shall we say. Full-time job ba ito? O part-time? Or
Well, this actually, you can call it a full-time job in terms of the hours, but
Yeah.
in terms of the function, it's considered a part-time.
and
Work.
and right now you're there. I heard there are lots of committees operating within the school board, or within the board of trustees, structure. And are you engaged in some committees, or you're chairing a certain committee or something?
Yes, we have lots of committees within the board, and the two are statutory, mandated by law, are CPIC, which is the Canadian Parent Involvement Committee, and the other one is the SEAC, which is the Special Education Advisory Committee. Now, other than those statutory committees, we have our ethnic group committees, which advises the board on particular issues and interests of one of which is we both have a hand in establishing, which is the Filipino Advisory Committee, which you
okay.
are a member of.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Gary. And our co-host here would like to ask a question. Joe Damasco.
Gary, in your jurisdiction, marami bang Pilipino na member dito?
Yes, within it's a good question, Joe. In the Catholic School Board, especially in Toronto, it is surprising. Not surprising, but we are now the number one ethnic group within the Toronto Catholic School Board. In fact, we have about 1 in 3 students would be Filipino. Right? And that's a large group. So we have lots of students. Officially, it's probably hovering around 15-16%, but that's because the questions asked of these students are, do you speak Tagalog or Filipino at home? But technically, they're of Filipino heritage. Like my own sons and daughters, they don't speak Tagalog at home, but they're considered Filipino because we all have the Filipino heritage. So that's the large number of students in our school board.
So, dun sa mga parents ng mga estudyante, karamihan yun na alam nyo naman ng Pilipinas, galing tayo sa Catholic,
Correct.
the only
Yes.
Catholic country actually sa Asia.
Yes.
So, mas madali ba silang kausapin kaysa yung hindi galing sa Asia na mga estudyante, parents?
When you say kausapin, I take it to mean that they're more behaved, they're more disciplined.
Yeah,
In that
they're-
case, yes, it's easier because we have the Catholicity here. I think many students and parents from the Philippines who migrated here find it easy to integrate, especially that our faith is very strong from where we came from.
Si Mrs. Tanawan, bilang very supportive naman kayo kay Jari, ano naman ang pinaka-role ninyo sa support nyo kay Gary?
Binibilang ko po to na parang tawag ng Panginoon sa amin na makatulong sa Catholic education dito sa Toronto. Kanya abot abot ang aking suporta sa kanya.
Nagtuturo din kayo?
Sunday school lang po. Hindi po sa
Sunday.
school board pa sa simbahan.
Okay, si Bobby yata may tatanong at
No.
wala. I'm just curious. So what made you run? Made you decide to run and get elected sa Toronto Catholic District School Board as a trustee? Medyo
Yes.
malalim bang tanong yun or may...
Actually, it was a divine intervention, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I had no plans of running, but then Trustee Tobias Enverga, now
Yes.
Senator Enverga, was on the Ward 8 Board of Trustees.
Yes.
So when he was appointed to the Senate by then Prime Minister Harper, I was helping him, and of course Marla was there all the way in helping all these organizations, Ontario Association of Parents in Catholic Education, and also with CPIC,
Yes.
which I was a member of. So we were very happy doing that. But when he, was appointed, then there was some soul searching and praying. But eventually, I said, we're already here helping the parents and the students, so why not do it
Okay.
for our Lord and for everyone in
Yeah.
our community.
Okay. I don't want to put you in a spot, but election is still 2 years from now, or a little
Next
bit.
year, actually.
Yeah. So next year. So it's
Yes. It's
June
it's
next
about
year, ata.
14 months or
No.
something.
No, less
October
It will be
2018.
October. That's correct.
18.
So it's almost a year now.
Yeah, about a year and a bit.
October next year? I thought
So-
it's June.
No.
June
The
is the
trustees.
provincial
Oh, I
election.
see.
Provincial. So I don't want to put a stop or something, but to end the discussion. But my question: any plans for next year or something?
Well, we'll leave that for next year,
Okay.
Tony,
You'll-
because right now we just want to get through it. But whatever the Lord wills.
Or anything that would at least propel you or encourage you to move up to a certain position?
Well, when I came here, this was just to do the Catholic School Board, and I won't say that there might not be
the
any
options,
opportunities, of
the
course.
options, yeah.
But at this time,
So
I think that there's a lot of work in the
Okay.
Catholic School Board that we can do, and literally and figuratively, I won't be here if Marla was not
Okay.
helping me.
So there are still lots of options open for you from now until next year, I suppose, right?
We'll
Okay.
see what.
All right. Let's move a little back to your profession, aside from being a trustee in the Catholic school system in Toronto. I understand that you have completed a degree in engineering, electrical engineering, and now you are doing some project management work. What exactly is this?
So, I haven't had a chance to practice my electrical engineering degree that I completed. From there, I immediately went to the IT field in
Yes.
computing and computer. They call it automation before, but I went to work for the USAID for more than 9 years, and from there I migrated here. So when I came here, the computer field, I was able to, work on it, but eventually I joined the project and program management.
Okay, and Marla also is in some ways also doing some project management
No,
work.
I'm a computer programmer by
Okay.
profession, but I quit doing that when I had my third child.
Okay, and do you mind if I ask you what do you do now? Or
Full-time housewife, but I do a lot of volunteer work. Like I teach the rosary to children under the Rosary Apostolate. We're lectors at church. I teach Sunday school, like I said. Yeah,
Are you
mostly volunteer work.
are you still the CSAC chair of Francis Lieberman?
Oh, I just finished that term.
Oh,
My
okay.
son graduated. He's now at the University of Toronto.
Oh, okay. And yeah. All right. Let's so that's project what about your community involvement, Mr. Tanawan, Gary? Specifically, you're engaged in some faith-based communities or something. What could you?
Yes, Tito Tony, as you mentioned earlier, I'm mostly involved in the lay movement groups in our Catholic Church. That's been these organizations and communities that I'm involved in, especially surrounding our local parish. That's where the most need is required. So I do. I'm the finance chair and treasurer for the One with God community, and also at the church I help out whatever we could, and especially with the Knights of Columbus, and have lots of activities that, and also with the CWL. I encourage them to be involved in the project, especially for our youth and our children in the school board.
Nabanggit dito, lector. Hindi masyado akong familiar kung ano yung lector. Ito ba yung lecturer or something?
Hindi
Ano bang ibig sabihin ng lector?
Yung pong nagbabasa ng first reading, second reading.
Yung ba yun? Bakit din nilang sabihin first reader, second reader? Kala ko ang lector, nagle-lecture.
Mas maganda pakinggan eh.
Ganun ba yun? Oh, I see. Kala ko yun ng yung nagle-lecture kung wala yung wala yung deacon. Ano ba yun?
Yung deacon, yeah.
Ano bang
Ang alin?
sa Pilipinas ba may mga deacon? Kasi nang malis ako rin, wala pa yata hindi pa yata uso mga
meron na
deacon
rin
nung araw eh. Ha?
Meron na rin eh. Hindi mo lang napapansin kasi
Hindi ko lang napapansin.
low profile yung mga deacon sa Pilipinas.
Yung mga deacon na normally na nag-umpisa yan sa mga non-Catholic Christian
Ganun ba yun?
denomination.
Converts.
Meron silang deacon.
Yes.
So later on, inadapt na rin ng Catholic.
Catholic.
No.
Pero ang deacon may asawa. May pamilya rather.
Oo,
I'm
meron
sorry.
silang,
That's kasi
Pero
pwedeng...
doon sa Pilipinas, hindi. Ang alam ko doon, ang deacon doon is yung mga seminaryan na naglumalabas sa something. Doon sila pupunta sa deacon.
Later part.
Hindi pa sila pare.
Hindi pa sila pare. Yeah.
Ganun
Yung
ba?
parang a year or 2 years before ng kanilang ordination, lumalabas sila. Sila ang nagiging deacon sa mga paris.
Okay. So hindi pa sila tapos, hindi pa sila ordained as kala ko so in other words, no offense, yung mga prostrated na pari yun.
Hindi, yung deacon dito
Oo.
na may asawa, magiging pari sila if namatay yung asawa.
Di pa
Yeah, papatayin mo na.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, they can't get married again once they.
Yeah.
Once namatay yung asawa.
Namatay yung asawa, hindi sila magiging married.
Kaya
Magiging pare sila. if
pwedeng
they want
maging
to.
pare
Yeah.
basta nawalang asawa.
Nawala yung
asawa. Pero kung
Till death do us part na sila. Kaya pag nawala na yung isa,
pwede na sila magpare.
pwede na sila mag-asawa kay Kristo. Yun.
Para nakakaliwanagan tayo dahil si Joe
Deacon si Joe eh.
oo. Di ko niya sa maraming bagay si Joe
Hindi, kaya nga liniliwanag sabi mo, namatay asawa. Kung na-divorce,
Wala pa rin siya.
Buhay pa rin yun.
Aalisin ka as a deacon kung divorce mo.
Di ba?
Hindi, wag mo nagpakasalan para
Sino pa kasalan mo?
hindi, para di mo na-declare na may asawa ka.
Paano i-declare? Nag-asawa ka na nga eh. Sa Catholic, pag nag-asawa ka, forever na yun may asawa.
Pagka kinasal ka sa pare, sa simbahan, forever yun.
Till death do us part, no?
Oo.
Kaya pag naging deacon ka, suportado ka ng asawa mo hanggang mamatay yung asawa mo.
Paano ako? Meron akong first wife.
Hindi ka pwedeng maging deacon.
Sub-deacon ka na lang.
Substitute ka na lang. Okay.
Maghanap buhay muna tayo.
Maghanap buhay muna tayo. At
Kumusta kabayan? Ito si Rafael Neves, General Manager ng Action Honda. Para makatipid, mapabilis, pagbili ng Honda sasakyan, kami laging may paraan. Laging may sales events at promotion, tama sa iyong kakayahan. Please call us at 416-281-1234, 416-281-1234. Bibili ka o hindi, it's always my pleasure to talk to our kababayan. Mabuhay!
Sa yumak na magsama-sama ipadala ang ating cargo. Serbisyo ay hindi nagbago. Ang yumak ay totoo. Saan pa man ang iyong pamilya, ang yumak ay mayroong serbisyo. Kahon ninyo'y walang peligro. Darating maayos at magaling.
Nagbabalik po tayo sa Talakayan Radyo Pilipino at bago natin pagpatuloy ang ating conversation with Trustee Gary Tanawan, I'd like to make some commentaries about what's happening in the Philippines. This time of the year and this time now in the studio, I'm very thankful that ang aking report ay puro positive news sa Philippines. At magandang balita, sabi nga. President Duterte declared that the Marawi city siege is now liberated na kamo. However, Mindanao will remain under martial law. That is until the last terrorist is killed, according to the president. So it's time also for the Marawiñans, kung tawag to ni Marawiñans.
Maranao.
Maranao ba?
Yeah.
Marawi.
Maranao. Ang mga,
I don't think they are called Maranaos. Oh, anyway, I'm not from that area. So it's time for rehabilitation and resettlement, and I believe the government is appropriating about $3 billion for rehabilitation. Pero yung iba hindi pa nakakabalik sa kanilang bahay. At pangalawang magandang balita, the Ninoy Aquino International Airport is no longer included in the top 20 worst airports in the world. Dati kasi for about 3 or 4 years, the worst airport tayo sa buong mundo. Nakakaya, di ba? Nawala na tayo sa listahan na ganon. According to the Guide to Sleeping in Airports survey, dahil according to the survey, based on the survey about comfort, that's gate seating and availability of rest areas. Maganda na bang rest areas sa loob ng airport natin?
Malinis.
Malinis?
pwede ka na matulog eh.
Oo. Services? Wala nang laglag bala at tanim bala. Facilities and things to do. Ano bang magagawa sa airport?
May spa doon.
May
Pwede ka
shopping.
magpa-spa.
May spa na. Oh. Nagmamadali kang umalis ng bansa tapos may
Hindi
spa.
kung mga 2 to 3 hours na layover.
Ganun ba yun? Food options. Siguro maraming pagkain. Hindi street food po ito. At tinatawag na security. And then customer service. Mga smiling customer service reps. Cleanliness. And ease of transport. And sleepability. Pwede ka bang matulog sa airport? Ha? Para wala akong nakikita ron na mga upuan na pwede kang matulog.
Doon sa loob, hindi sa labas. Doon sa loob na sa may na.
Lounge.
So yun po ang base ng survey at from worst airport to a good airport na at sabi nila dati rank number 4 tayo sa Asia noong 2014 as the worst. Number 5th tayo sa worst in Asia in 2015 pero pagpasok ng 2017 sa panahon ni President Duterte medyo nagbago na po ang image. And another good thing about the Philippines, Boracay, ano bang pronunciation to? Boracay remained the best island in the world according to the latest survey conducted by international travel magazine Condé Nast Traveler. Out of 300,000 surveyed, sinabi nila pinakamaganda ang Boracay, followed by Cebu, Visayan Islands, I don't know which one, maybe it includes Bacolod or
Negros.
Dumaguete or Negros or Bohol, and also our famous Palawan. Yun ang kuha nila.
El Nido.
Oo, El Nido. Pero hindi pa ako kakarating doon dahil hindi ako marunong lumangoy baka makuha yung bangka. And also another good news is that the Thomson Reuters Foundation survey suggested that Manila is a relatively safe city for women out of 19 cities. Totoo kaya ito? Safe na ang mga babae sa Maynila?
Huwag na lumabas.
Ha? Huwag lang lalabas? Sa bahay lang?
Sa bahay lang.
Number 1 being worst, tayo number 14. So, out of 19. So, maganda ng ito, batting average. So, the best na Manila. Dahil sabi nila, it's based on sexual violence, access to healthcare, cultural practices, and economic opportunities for women. So, nagbabago na talaga ang Pilipinas. And then another good news is that the House of Representatives earmarked 2.2 billion for transport modernization plan. Itong pagre-replace ng passenger jeepney, mga jeepney sa Pilipinas. 2.2 billion replacement at magiging modern units na. Pero kumukontra itong piston, samahan ng piston. Ang piston I think, ano ba itong ibig sabihin ng piston? Pagkakaisa, samahan ng mga tsuper at operators nationwide, yan ang piston. Kumukontra sila, paano naman daw yung mga jeepney nila na 5 years old, kailangan ng ikuan. Kasi ang moratorium of this is they're gonna stop flying over Metro Manila streets starting next year, January. So, ang kuan nila, papalitan ng bago ng sistema, yung bang parang jeep din pero
Parang minivan.
parang minivan.
Electric na.
At instead ng mga walo,
Diesel.
walo or something ang sakay, maramihan na. At siguro alis ng diesel-powered kuan. Pero ang kaso nito, maglo-loan sila sa gobyerno.
Soft loan.
Oo. Ang kaya lang ang iba kumukontra kasi 13,000 pesos to 18,000 pesos ang hulog nila buwan-buwan. Kailangan kumita sila. Di ba? At isa pa, sinasabi nilang instead of becoming yung ano ba tawag doon? Boundary. Kasi para kang may operator, driver ka, you have to rent the jeepney. Sa ito ngayon, ikaw na may-ari.
Owner.
Ikaw na mismo ang owner and then operator. I hope this modernization plan will go through without much problem. Yun ang kuha nila doon sa Pilipinas. At panghuli po, the Marcos family is not, hindi siguro magandang balita ito, is not keen yet on a member of the family of the Marcos family, si Amy Marcos, Governor Amy Marcos, is reported planning to run for a seat in the Senate. Ewan ko kung magandang balita ito, masamang balita, dahil we have the former Senator Bongbong Marcos who ran for Vice President. At ngayon, meron namang another Marcos will be running. So, good luck na lang sa Pilipinas. Dahil it's more of, shall we say, the Marcoses are getting inroads into the politics in the Philippines. Yan lang po ang pananaw at report ni Tony San Juan. Then, we'll be back with our guest today, Mr. Gary Tanawan, Trustee, Ward 8 of the Toronto Catholic District School Board. I believe he's going to announce and explain to us about a certain motion in the Toronto Catholic District School Board.
Okay, thank you, Tito Tony. This notice of motion I put in for our schools in Scarborough, and this is called the ethnocentric cultural school. So this actually came about because of the consolidation attempts in our area. As you know, we have lots of schools in Ward 8. We have about 24 schools. But kung base natin doon sa new ministry guidelines, gusto nila medyo malalaking school. The mga schools nito in our area were built in the mid-80s to late 80s, and they were not big schools. They're like schools with 200 to 300 capacity. Most of these schools are fairly utilized, and there's a few schools that are not. So this is one of the initiative that will hopefully establish an ethnocentric cultural school, kasi yung multi-language school hindi pinayagan ng ministro dahil dalawa lang daw yung language dito sa Ontario, and that's English and French.
Yes.
And we want also to put in Mandarin, Spanish, perhaps Filipino, Tagalog, but that was not approved. So this is a way in through, and we will work with the board and with the parents and stakeholders to see kung ano yung maganda dito sa ethnocentric cultural school, similar to what they have in the Toronto District School Board, yung African centric schools.
So by ethnocentric cultural, I'm sure they will be admitting, accepting students from all ethnic groups.
Correct.
Or multicultural groups.
Right.
What about the curriculum or the focus of the programs within the school? Is
So
this
the curriculum will
does it
stay.
include elementary and high school?
No, this is only for elementary for
Yes.
now. The curriculum will stay the same. It's
Yes.
like we have discussed before. These are
Yes.
the examples of a particular subject. When they have it, we'll focus more on ethnocentric for the like Filipino, Mandarin, or in Chinese, similar to the current curriculum, which has a very heavily emphasized on the Eurocentric.
All right.
So they learn all about this migration from Europe and all that. That's what in our curriculum right now. But this would encourage the ethnocentric.
So we need the Scarborough area. So it's assumed or it's indicated that there are lots of various types of ethnic groups there.
Yes.
Compared to the other area in the west,
Yes.
West of Toronto. Is that
Yes,
what
correct.
you're saying?
That's actually Scarborough is the number one group. The Filipino group is heavily represented in the entire Toronto board. We have more Filipinos per density area compared to the central or west end.
Would this move or step by the Toronto Catholic School Board result in less closure of the school or amalgamation or merger of the school, or still the pupil accommodation review will still proceed as scheduled and as planned, and then some closure of the schools? How do you foresee this this thing?
That's a great question. Actually, we are struggling with that because the ministry has issued a B09 memo at the end of the school year, which was June 29, I believe, and that has a moratorium on school closures. So for those schools that have already been decided to be closed and consolidated prior to the memo coming out, that we can't do anything there. But for those in progress, that's the big $64 million question, whether we want to proceed with it. The community has strongly indicated that they don't want any closures, because not only of their kids, that they're going to quite a distance Catholic school, whereas there's public schools in the area. That's the danger of us losing many students. That's the problem.
All right. In your area in Ward 8, there are three high schools that you're under your constituency or something, or there are how many elementary schools?
It seems like you're a mind reader, Tony, because that's what I wish to have, 3 high schools. Only we have 2 right now.
All
and
right.
In the southern end, we don't have any schools below 401.
Yeah.
But in the north end, we have 2 schools, Francis Lieberman, where Marla was chair until last year, and there's St. Mother Teresa.
Okay.
Both very good schools.
All right. And elementary school, are there any possible closure of a school in your area or something?
Yes, so right now we have 2 clusters that being reviewed, and hopefully with this memo, we could save them. So the schools, there's one Saint Rene Gupil,
Yes.
and then Divine Infant, which is one cluster, and the other one is Saint Gabriel Alamon. Those are the 3 schools out of the 7 schools.
So only one.
So 3.
3 will
Which
be
is
closed or merged.
Where that was the suggestion by the board, but.
How does it compare with the other schools outside of your riding or your constituency, let's say in the west or in Toronto, south of 401? How does it compare in terms of
the population, you mean?
Closure and merger? Or
there's no consideration of closure south of 401. And the reason there is most of the schools there are large. When I say large, comparatively, the population is pretty healthy, and we're not looking at under-subscribed schools south of 401, which is also the case in the west end. They're bursting at the seams, and we have one school, St. Brendan, which is very.
I thought
is
the Torontonians, I mean the old Toronto, they have they have families there which moved to the Scarborough area. I thought the population is growing in Scarborough. Wow, what's the reason for that?
Well, there's no new. Relatively compared to the west end, the families in the Scarborough area are relatively. You call them senior, with due respect, in that area, because they that's actually a leading indicator of the economy, because if an area loses students, that means there's less young families, right? They're moving elsewhere. That's why we're talking with the International Trade Minister and the Education Ministry to help have more foreign students, especially we were talking about the Philippines and other areas.
But there are lots of ethnic groups which have larger families. You mean the Anglo families, you mean moving out of the Scarborough area, and then there are some ethnic groups also. I don't want to be particular, but I understand that there are lots of Chinese, lots of Filipinos and South Asians who are moving towards Scarborough. Why is the population some sort of decreasing? And because of that, it's impacting shall we say, the accommodation review.
Yes, that would be the Catholic service factor.
Oh, okay.
Which means that how many Catholics do we have in that area? So right now, I think we're at the 85%.
Okay.
And that counts.
So these other ethnic groups are not necessarily Catholics.
No, they're not. And then in the elementary level, we require our board, based on their faith-based system, we have at least one of the parents should be Catholic, so they can register and enroll in elementary school. And for the high school, it's open. So if none of the parents are Catholic, then the child himself or herself would have to be Catholic, which would be, and the only way they can do that if they're not Catholic is to go join the RCIA for adults, the Rights for Christian Initiation,
yes,
and RCIC for the children. So that's the way in if they want to be part of the elementary school.
All right,
system.
just my last question before Joe and Bobby would ask theirs. What about in the future? Are we looking at some sort of merging the two school systems, public and Catholic?
Yeah, that has always been brewing, and especially now it's election time. I don't think any parties have the appetite to take that on. As you remember, the faith issue was brought out by
the candidate 4 years ago.
4 years ago, but I think that's always will remain an issue. With there are certain sectors in our community that would want to see the Catholic school system go away. But if you speak to many political leaders or even some of the parents and stakeholders, they would say that it's a good system because it provides choice to the public. And for instance, if there's a strike, the entire education system isn't crippled because we still have
the Catholic system.
So that and also we would like to think that our faith-based system is providing value and discipline and all the virtues.
Okay, and okay, so ito na talaga huli. Ngayon, is for the benefit of our listeners, what's the basis, legal or constitutional basis of having a faith-based Catholic education system in Ontario? Because I understand there are some areas of jurisdiction outside of Ontario that, we don't have anymore that Catholic system.
Yes. This goes back all the way to the framing of the Constitution days, 1867.
Yes.
Right. So 76. Okay. So that it's enshrined. This was
the BNA Act of 1867.
Okay.
Yeah.
So British North American Act, and that enshrines the right of Catholic, then the minority French Catholics, to have their own system, and that's there. That's under section, I believe, Constitution, section 93. Now, there's also another part of the Act and also the Constitution that should anybody try to tamper with that, there's also a safeguard. So it's pretty much solid. The only way that this can be brought away would be through a referendum. That's what they did in the other parts of Canada.
All right.
But I think we still have a pretty solid. And I don't think any challenges thus far have been successful.
Okay.
Dito lang sa Toronto yun.
Sa Ontario?
No, the entire Ontario.
I believe that the Peel region, I think, they already combined the Catholic and the public school.
No, Peel Dufferin, we still have our own Catholic school. So
Dufferin Peel Catholic, meron din Peel District.
Peel District, yeah. So we have 29 boards and they're all Catholic. In fact, we're going to meet, we have a yearly meeting for the
Pero sa ibang district jurisdictions, let's say outside of Ontario, may mga wala ng Catholic school system, di ba?
We do. So, like I said, there's 29 boards throughout Ontario. And Dufferin that Bobby mentioned is one of the largest boards. So we have like 6 or 7 large boards in the GTA area, and the rest are smaller, but they still have their Catholic. In fact, you know, when you say combined, maybe you're referring to there are certain schools that joins both public, nandun yung Catholic students natin, nandun yung public students under one roof because of the numbers. Because some in the rural areas, that's why there's that B memo addresses rural and northern education dahil nagka-problema sila. They cannot maintain two individual school structures, yung actual building.
Magbabayad ng isa lang heating, isa lang.
And then you have only 12 students here, and then you know, we talk about 100 students and maliit yun doon siguro. Baka wala pang 25 students. You cannot have like 3 or 4 schools.
Ang tanong ko, yung outside of Ontario, yung halimbawa sa Newfoundland, sa Prince Edward Island, also the West, sa British Columbia.
They have their own.
Hindi, ang ibig sabihin, sa iba, correct me if I'm wrong, may mga inalis ng Catholic education, free ang kuwan ngayon, o lahat na public, something like that. Hindi na separate. Kasi ang tawag sa Toronto Catholic nung pre-amalgamation is separate school. Inabutan pa ako noon eh. Kaya,
MSSB.
Metro Separate School Board. Okay? Ngayon, ang tanong ko, sa ibang jurisdiction, other provinces, merong kuha na, di ba?
3 na lang yata.
Saan?
British Columbia.
Wala na.
Meron pa.
Meron pa.
Ontario and what's the other one?
Parang sa somewhere sa east.
Saskatchewan and Alberta, I think, has it. So 3 or 4 provinces.
Sa Quebec ata meron pa rin.
Dahil French talaga ang Quebec hindi mawawala yun. Sila nga ang nauna eh. So, si Joe, baka may tatanong.
Kasi if you notice, dumadami ng mga immigrant na galing sa Middle East.
Yes.
Ito ba yung nakakadagdag sa school increase ng
Well, the recipients of those, you're talking about mostly the refugees from Syria, correct?
Yeah.
So most of the refugees went to the public school board because there are very few. We got a few. There are few Catholics from that area,
Syrians.
right? So we have some, but I would say
it's
that
mostly Muslim.
yes, correct.
So ito nakakabawas sa Catholic school board mga estudyante.
Hindi nakakadagdag.
Hindi nakakabawas.
Walang bawas.
Walang bawas. Hindi dumarami. Di siguro kailangan ang more promotion, more evangelization or whatever you call it para naman lahat. Hindi naman lahat, kundi dumami.
Conversion.
Conversion. Yeah. Maaari namang ating situation ngayon nababawas na talagang ang Catholic faith, di ba?
Pero the means the name Catholic, it doesn't necessarily is a Catholic, it's a Christian. Kasi tinatanggap kahit hindi Catholic as long as you're a Christian, right?
For elementary school, no, you have to be a Roman Catholic. That's the requirement.
Sa high school lang.
High school is open to everyone.
To everyone.
So there's you don't have to be Catholic or the parents don't have to be Catholic. But elementary school, for Toronto Catholic School Board, I think there's only 2 boards left that
bakit ganun? Sa elementary, kailangan Roman Catholic ang bata at saka ang parents, but in the high school, whatever faith. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, that's because the
bago lang yan?
Well, it happened in in the mid-80s with the Premier Davis, right?
Yes.
And that opened the door for us because ang funding before for the Catholic School Board was only up to grade 10. So we had to pay 11 and 12 and maybe 13. But because of that, through that arrangement, we got funding, but in exchange, I call it the 30 pieces of silver, we had to be public. This is now a public school. That's why there's an issue.
So all the Catholic systems are actually publicly supported school systems. Kaya lang, ang sabi nila, yung mga paring walang education qualifications, aalis sa Catholic system. At yung mga madre, no offense, yung mga madre na hindi education graduate, aalis din. Of course, ang iba nag-aral ng education Ang ibang pare nagpatuloy, kaya ganon. And then under the supervision na yung directly under supervision by ano ba tawag doon, by a lay principal or something.
Yeah.
No longer a Catholic priest or something, unlike before.
Yeah,
Before lahat na principal is pare or none.
No,
Not most of them. Yes.
Most of them.
And you don't need the OCT is now required,
Yeah.
that designation.
Y-
But before we don't need that.
yun ang kailangan. Okay. Bibigyan kita ng pondo pero ganito ang requirements. So, ano pa? Do you have a special announcement, Mr. Tanawan?
Yeah, we're talking about student achievement and parent council involvement. Next week on the 23rd, we will have at the Catholic Education Center at 80 Shepherd Avenue. We'll have our annual Catholic School Parent Council Conference. And this will have workshops for roles and responsibilities for the various positions, and also everybody is welcome. So you can all go. We'll have a meet and greet at 5:30 up to 6:30, and then followed by keynote speakers from our Director of Education, Rory McGuckin, and Chair of our Board, Angela Kennedy, and then we have workshops that follow after that. So
when is this?
This would be October 23rd, which would be
Monday.
actually Monday.
Where is it going to be held
This will
again?
be held at the Catholic Education Center
Shepherd.
in 80 Shepherd Avenue, which is Young and Shepherd.
Is there a registration thing or it's a walk-in conference?
Well, I would say there would be registration
Yes.
if you could until Monday, I believe, and people can just walk in if they want to.
May Joel?
At sa iyong pananaw, Gary, yung mga karamihan na ngayon na dumarating na ibang Pilipino na Catholic, minsan marami na sa kanila na hindi na sila nagpa-practice na Catholic pero Christian sila.
Yes.
So ito ba walang pagbabago naman sa kanilang tiwala sa mga anak nila sa Catholic School Board?
So
Kasi iba yung pag iba na yung kanilang
Pag hindi siya RC, hindi siya tatanggapin sa elementary.
yun ang
one of
gusto
them
ko,
one of them has to be Catholic, right? So even those refugees that you're talking about, whether it's we still require them. So even if they want, like yung mga Muslim, their faith very strong, and then they don't like some of the issues and also some things in the public school. But the problem is if they want to come into our Catholic school, they have to kailangan nilang maging
Convert.
RCA, convert, right? So I would say that might be a hard pill to swallow for some parents. But for the Filipino Christians, they have choices. So if they have a birth certificate that says that says that they're Catholics, even though na
Baptized
convert
as Catholics.
precisely, if they were baptized, they can still use that, even though, like you said,
They are
they've already
Christians now.
they have gone to other denominations in our Christian faith. So they have those choices.
kasi
They can make.
yung anak ko nga nag-aaral sa Loyola Catholic School.
Yes.
Pero ako lang yung Catholic, yung first wife ko ibang religion eh.
Yeah, so they can still, as long as one. The requirement is only one.
Kaya qualified.
Qualified.
Eligible yung
They can,
anak mo at saka ikaw. Pwede rin. Pwede ka rin maging deacon, Joe. Kahit na may first wife o second wife ka o third wife.
Hindi,
Ganun ba yun?
alam mo, totoo yan. May 2 taon ako sa seminaryo.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Kaya lang,
Subdeacon ka na lang dyan.
kaya lang, siyempre, alam mo nung araw ko kasi pag gusto mo magpare, kaya may sponsor ka.
Tsaka mahal ang matrikula.
Tuition
Tuition fee.
fee.
Yung politician na sponsor ko natalo. Pati ako.
Di wala ka ng
nawala na rin.
2 years lang siya, kaya sa third year
2 years
nawala
lang.
na.
Nawala na.
Pwede ka namang patuloy dito, maging deacon dito. Dahil dito hindi na kailangan sponsor ang deacon yata.
Ikaw na bahala.
Mahirap ako maging decode kasi negosyante ako eh.
Oh, okay.
Ay, may mga negosyante naman, di ba? Nung araw may mga negosyante na naging
Imagine
Naging Pope.
naging pope.
Imagine mo
May mga warrior pope pa nga nung araw. May mga tawag dito, yung romantic pope. Sino ba yun? Ano bang pangalan nung Borgia? Ano bang, Leo ba yun? Yung Pope Leo, yung Rodrigo Borgia.
Mahirap yun eh. Araw-araw iniisip mo fundraising.
Okay. May babae bang deacon?
Catholic at
Wala.
RC, no. Roman Catholic, no.
Sa Roman
Not
Catholic.
Sa meron eh. Sa ibang Christian faith.
Anglican meron.
Okay.
Yung sa
Pero
Methodist.
pwedeng pastoral associate.
Anong trabaho
Kaya
no?
meron silang Master of Theology. Then they apply as a pastoral associate sa mga parish. They can
Anong
hold that
ginagawa
function.
nun?
They cannot do the sacraments, pero they educate sa
Nagpapakomunyon.
RCIA.
RCIA,
Okay.
they normally lead
Sila
that, yeah.
nagpe-prepare ng mga bata for confirmation and communion.
Okay. So, ganun
Sa
pala yun.
sacramental.
Pero meron din na problema ron.
Ano yan?
Kailangan di masyadong maganda.
Bakit naman?
Siyempre, pag maganda, di marami masyadong parents na lalaki na
Mag-attend.
mag-attend.
Di mabuti, lalago ang
That's part of the evangelization.
lalago ang komunidad.
Congregation.
Di ba? Ang congregation. Di ba? At yun nga.
Saba mayroon doon.
Okay, ano yun?
Okay, I think it's about time to wrap up, and thank you, Gary, and thank you, Marla, for gracing our program today. And it's nice to be talking to you and talking about faith, talking about the operations and focus of the Toronto Catholic School Board, and also the programs, the upcoming programs. Thank you for your insights and information. Would you like to say your final words?
Yes, thank you, Tito Tony, and thank you for this opportunity to once again talk to our listeners or the Filipino-Canadian community and all our listeners worldwide. And I also appreciate Tito Tony's efforts. In fact, he was cited as the Community Service Award for the year. And it's people like you, Abby and Joe and everybody in the leaders of the Filipino-Canadian community that enables us to be of service and to our community. So you have paved the way for our community to go forward, as we are a very, very large group, but we need to do more. There's a lot of work ahead of us. So thank you very much. So
All
God
right.
bless you all.
Salamat, Marla.
Maraming salamat po.
Lagi kasi ang babae, I'm sorry for being, sexist. Babae kasi ang panghuling salita eh. Di ba?
Lady.
Yan ang tinatawag na last word. Si Gary, final, pero siya ang last word. Okay?
Maraming salamat po. Thank you for having us on your show.
And Joe?
At bago ako magwawakas, gusto ko magpasalamat sa mga umaten, yung mga bisita namin kagabi sa Philippine Press Club 15th anniversary. At sa mga bagong kasapi, umanda kayo at basahin yung mabuti yung akin inabot na Constitution and Bylaws. At tayo ay nagiging sandigan ng ating mga kababayan sa Toronto.
Alright. And Bobby?
Ito si Bobby. Sa susunod uling Sabado, magkita-kita po tayo dito sa Talakayan Radio sa PinoyRadio.com.
So on behalf of Jess and May Cabras, we're signing off today, and next week we're going to have Leon Ares Jr., director of the Carlos Bulusan Theater workshop, and he'll be around together with Karin Pascual Binaires. Kita-kita po tayo. Thank you very much for listening and watching us today. Talakayan Radio Filipino, signing off today. Bye-bye now.
Kayo nakikinig sa Talakayan.
PinoyRadio.com.
Thank you for listening to Talakayan.
PinoyRadio.com.
The hours fade, the moments fly, and time never stands still. We now look into the pool of memories and pause a while in pious meditation to think of the things we did and did not do, but should have done, and hope that in tomorrow we shall improve upon today. Good day, pleasant weekend. Diyos mabulos sa indong gabos.
Inyong natungayan ang isa na namang pagtatanghal na ang programang